Okay, good morning students. On our last tutorial we learned how to create a topo surface with different materials, and I think we went quite far in the Revit interface, and we learned how to do this and to create this. Now a step going forward would be to create some buildings on the site, and I'm going to show you a very quick and easy method of doing this, and I'm sure everyone will catch on very quickly. And yeah, we can learn how to do this very easily, and I'm sure everyone will enjoy this lecture. Okay, so our first step, as always, is to click our top view in our 3D pane. If you still don't remember how to get into 3D, it's this little box here, and then you click the top box on your view cube. Okay, so Revit has different ways of creating 3D objects, and I'll teach you the very simple way of creating these, and it's just block objects for now. It doesn't hold any real value, but the value it does have is it shows us how to or how a building is positioned on a site. So very simply on this, I'll create a few different sites, a few different models, and then we can play with the heights and see how that looks. Okay, so our first step under our architecture tab is to click on the little drop down arrow under components, and we're going to say model in place. Okay, when you click model in place, this family, category and parameters tab comes up, and I want you to scroll down and choose generic. Okay, always choose generic for this type of work. I'll go into the rest later on in the course, but for now let's just stick to generic models. We'll click OK, and we are going to type house 1 and click OK. Okay, so once that comes up, you'll find that Revit says goes into another menu, and this is a create menu. Okay, so we want to create an extrusion. We don't want to create any other model type. We want to just create an extrusion. An extrusion, if you click and hold over your extrusion tab, it teaches you how to draw an extrusion. Okay, and you'll find that it creates an extrusion. Okay, so we click on the extrusion, and again Revit gives us our line and line tools. So we'll start by just drawing in a little extrusion, maybe 7 meters. You can draw this anywhere on site. It's just for learning purposes. We'll make that about 6 meters. Make that about 3 meters. Oops. And coming down about 10 meters, and pull back until it snaps, and up and escape. Okay, so that's our little house that we felt that's a position of. Remember, this is just for learning purposes, so we can place anything we want for now, but later on in actual exercise we'll have to draw it with the building being within the building lines, etc. Okay, so that's our object drawn in lines. Then we click the green tab, and if we go into our 3D, we'll find that it's sitting very low on the ground. Okay, so the reason for this is the depth of our extrusion. If you look here, if you click out and you click back onto your extrusion, the depth of the extrusion is only 330 mils. So we're going to delete that. We're going to make it 3 meters high, and we'll find now that our little house or block shows up at 3 meters high. Okay, so once this is done, we can move on to making another one and another one and another one. But this is your little block for now. Now remember, when you click on this block while in your edit extrusion, you'll be able to pull this out a bit, pull it up a bit. You'll see that your depth changes. So we want to keep those depths at about 3 meters. We can pull the side in. Okay, so you have a lot of flexibility when it comes to modeling in this way. And this is just for view purposes or for information purposes to find massing of a building. Okay, so we're going to say finish model, and I'm going to go through this again one more time, and we will create another another little block, and then I'll show you different methods of tweaking these blocks. Okay, so once again, under your architecture tab, component, model in place, we're going to scroll down to generic models, click OK, and we're going to say house 2, click OK, extrusion, we're going to draw a little extrusion, okay, this could be anything really, class. You could, it all depends on you what shape of building you want to have. Okay, so once you've created that little block, click OK again, and you'll see our depth is 330. This time we want to make it 6 meters as a double story. Okay, and you'll find that now your block is 6 meters. Okay, so very simple and very easy way of creating extrusions. Once you're happy with this, or you've adjusted it to the way you like it, you can click finish model, and the model will be placed on your site. Okay, then let's click on our top view again. Now, for instance, you don't want to create any other block types, so you can easily just copy this over. Let's click copy, and we can tweak this, okay, to anything you like. Okay, so another quick command is, if we click on this object, we can use a command called a mirror command. Okay, so we click on this and we go up to our mirror. It says pick axis or draw axis. So because we want to copy this exactly onto this side using a mirror command, we can just use pick axis. We just pick this line and it mirrors it for us. Okay, alternatively, you pick the building, you can click draw axis, click draw, and it'll mirror it. Okay, so that's a quick and simple way of using the mirror tools. Okay, and then you can just also very easily copy these over, and you can just edit them to make them a bit different maybe, and yeah, be creative in creating these blocks. You can create anything you want, so try your best to make things a bit more creative. Okay, and then if we back into our 3D view, you can see now that we have a few blocks that have different shapes, and it's representing something very nice in our model. Okay, so this is a quick representation of a little 3D block that we've created over a few lectures, but it's very powerful and it'll help you show off your concepts better. So this very easy tutorial or tutorials have led you to this point where you can now start doing more complex work. You can draw up existing cities or existing blocks and you can represent them very, very quickly. Okay, so guys, that's it for today's tutorial. In the next tutorial, we'll be learning how to scale a Google map. We'll go back to drawing our sites or site, dividing the site, dividing the plots, drawing up existing buildings, and on a Google Earth base, and this can be used to represent your projects, so your urban designs or your planning designs for your projects, and so on and so forth. So I hope that everybody's learning and taking to this quite easily. Okay, thank you, class.